Cornhole is the great equalizer. Ever since its emergence in the 1980s, the game of cornhole has transcended race, gender, and socioeconomic status to become the game of choice in backyard barbecues and tailgates across America. The beauty is in its simplicity. 2 boards, 8 bags, 4 people. One hand holds the bag, cold beverage in the other, optional, but usually recommended.
I think that's one of the unique things about our sport, the fact that anyone can pick up a bag and throw it, and a lot of people out there have.
An estimated 25 million people play the game worldwide.
Size, strength, age, gender, they're irrelevant.
For history, the sport of cornhole, she airmails it!
But one person had a vision to take the sport to another level, trading backyards and tailgates for arenas and live broadcasts.
Everyone's like onto it now, like, okay, this is more than just your tailgate thing, so they're definitely getting hooked to it.
And he did!
Cornhole, is a game that's easy to pick up, which really plays into what we're trying to do from a growth perspective.
Today, the American Cornhole League, or ACL, is booming, with more than 250,000 people in 15 countries in its database. Prize money has increased in each of the past 3 years, and it has broadcast deals with ESPN and CBS.
Oh, if Adam can push this back, he's gonna win. And he got it! What a win for Adam Hissner!
Sponsorship deals with Johnsonville, Bacardi, and Bush's Baked Beans, plus a stake in licensing and manufacturing. That all results in outside investors and sponsors lining up for a piece of the action.
I saw the economic potential, and with a little bit of help, cornhole could be the next NFL.
Making the jump to be compared to the biggest money-making sport on the planet is going to require some big ideas and some big changes, which puts professional cornhole at a crossroads. Whether the ACL can go from American success story to worldwide phenomenon remains to be seen. This is Next in Sports. All right, VP, here we are in Phoenix. This is the center of the sports world this week. Massive golf tournament, a very big football game, the Super Bowl. Everyone is here. Everyone's excited. That's not why we're here.
No, we're not here for that. We're here to watch cornhole and not cornhole play like everyone else is probably playing at the tailgates. We're here to watch professional cornhole.
Yeah, these are people who are trying to make a living throwing bags at boards in the same way that we do, as you say, with a drink in our hand, like in the backyard. The name for it? Super Hole. The Super Hole is one of the American Cornhole League's, or ACL's, 4 major national tournaments each year. Think the 4 majors in golf and tennis. It's a pro-am that features the best professional cornhole players matched up with sports stars like Justin Turner from Major League Baseball or Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tyler Lockett from the NFL. It's also a symbol of just how big the ACL has become. But before we talk more about this, we need to understand the roots of cornhole. So I got to see up close and personal what tailgating really looks like at the Philadelphia Eagles home game in the playoffs against the Giants. It was quite an experience.
So, tell me about that scene and how people were playing cornhole.
First of all, they love cornhole. No matter where we went, people wanted to throw bags. The second is, they really, really did not like the New York Giants.
Giants out of here! Terrible!
Let's go, boys! Yeah! 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 I told you could do a split!
I mean, I've been here for an hour, and cornhole is everywhere. They are playing this incessantly and for hours and hours before the game. I mean, it is amazing to walk around here. I mean, it's like cornhole, 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 and people are really, really into it. gets pretty fierce, pretty competitive, but you're also drinking for most of it too.
Before cornhole turned into its own sport, it was already sport adjacent, a staple of that most American of traditions, getting together with your friends before a big game in the parking lot and hanging out.
Cornhole is the #1 sport in tailgating. It's cheap enough to buy, and it's easy enough to bring to a parking lot.
And when I asked the tailgaters about professional cornhole, most not only knew about it, but were already fans.
And during COVID, when people couldn't play professional sports, that was one thing you could count on, was professional cornhole.
On the way, looking to get two.
While cornhole has become a necessary part of any good tailgate experience, professional cornhole has only been around for the last decade or so. Where most people see a casual game with friends, Stacy Moore, a portfolio manager turned angel investor from South Carolina, saw a business opportunity.
I started out running all the tournaments, carrying all the boards, setting up all the boards, doing it all from the ground up.
With just a small part-time team, Stacy and the ACL started organizing regional events, created a competitive rule structure, and worked to make the game viewable for broadcasts.
Was this a max out the credit cards sort of situation, or what was how real did that feel?
I was trying to divest of my other investments so I could put more money into it.
Right.
The first step was, how can we organize events in a more professional way than was currently going on? You have to be able to have scores and stats. That was key. And so we wanted to develop our own technology so that we can control that aspect of it. The other thing is being able to show it on television in a compelling way that makes other people want to watch.
That was the next big step, getting the ACL on TV.
We're at Otto's Car Club in Scottsdale, Arizona. Normally, this is a warehouse and showroom for classic cars. But in just one day, it will be transformed into the Super Hole and broadcast on ESPN. So, a lot going on in this whole area.
I think that's an understatement.
This is a brand new court here. It's called a Versa court. It's a sport court, so it's kind of designed for play on top of it.
What do you think is the difference that makes this better than the carpet? Is it just for the broadcast feel, or?
Broadcast-wise, it looks fantastic. And it also really gives the players this elevated experience, right? They walked out, the very first time they saw it, they were like, oh my God, that's so cool, because it changes things.
It's not just playing in a backyard, on a carpet, or on grass.
This setup for the Super Hole is a far cry from where the ACL started with their broadcasts 5 years ago. Part of that evolution has to do with their distribution, and you can't get much bigger than ESPN.
On social media, we saw it more often, and we're always intrigued by the sport. They approached us initially just to have a conversation, and the conversation quickly turned into, okay, this is viable. Stacy Moore, he had it together, and I think he had a smart business proposal for us. For us, it was low risk.
They ended up putting our first championships on ESPN3, and by the time that our second championships was coming around, they called me about 6 weeks beforehand and said, would you like to be on ESPN2? So I said, absolutely.
With the broadcast locked in, Stacy needed two things to level up the ACL's legitimacy: a commentator to draw viewers in, and a sponsor to fund the event. First, the sponsor.
It was my wedding anniversary in 2017. I woke up in the morning, I checked my email, and I had a LinkedIn InMail, which is often just sort of a quick scan and delete exercise every morning. But I had one from Stacy Moore, and his message said, I'm the commissioner of the American Cornhole League. ESPN has decided to air our event on TV this weekend. I can give you brand presence on the broadcast, and you'll get commercials on ESPN. Are you interested in helping me? And I responded, you had me at Cornhole. And then I texted my boss and said, hey man, I just made an executive decision. We're now the presenting sponsor of the American Cornhole League on ESPN. To which he responded, sounds right. And that was the end of it. So then Cornhole was on TV, and our logo was all over everything.
And it took off right out of the gate. Both our fans and then folks around our company who said, okay, there's something real here.
My phone was just exploding with people going, what in the world am I watching right now? How did this happen? One of the players made this unbelievable shot that Bleacher Report picked up. I think Chrissy Teigen jumped into the conversation at one point in social, and it ended up on SportsCenter's top 10 plays, and the thing just went viral. And so at that point we said, we got to keep going.
Over the next year, the ACL continued to grow, putting on more live events and steadily increasing the prize pool for players. And then, we all know what happened at this point.
March 13th is permanently ingrained in my brain, not in a good way.
Yeah.
It was the biggest event that the ACL was ever going to put on. And it was scheduled for March 14th through the 16th of 2020.
We were in like 180,000 square feet. It was the most boards we've ever set up for an event.
We had been notified 12 hours before that we needed to shut it down.
And I was floored. I thought we were done.
You thought an ACL over?
I thought ACL was over when the pandemic hit.
I remember getting on the plane and going home going, I genuinely don't know if we can get by this.
But more saw a crisis, and it turned into an opportunity.
The light bulb just kind of went off and said, we have a sport that is pretty much a naturally, socially acceptable distance according to the COVID rules. I want to be the first live sport back on television. And so we sent a note to ESPN.
Said, I think I can make this happen. And I think I can make it happen multiple times over. Can we do it? And the answer was unequivocally yes. Let's figure this out.
We were on 4 hours every Saturday for 7 straight weeks on ESPN. And that was a huge, huge growth point for us.
I think it created a sense of normalcy for people that, okay, I'm watching live sport. I'm quarantined, but this is normal. This is normal for me to watch.
The way. What a shot by left.
And credit to Stacey for making it happen.
We were getting emails from sponsors, viewers, people wanting to play, people wanting to invest.
The exposure from that 7-week run completely transformed the ACL's future. It opened the doors to outside sponsors, and that cash injection has allowed the ACL to increase its prize money, opening the door to professional cornholers to make a living.
One of the pros is Cheyenne Bubenheim, the #1 female cornhole player in the world.
What was it when you were like, oh, actually, I'd love to be a pro?
I'm a competitive person. I didn't play any other sports, but I'm competitive. And so I'm like, I'm tired of losing to the same people every time I'm at the same place. And then I kept going to bigger and bigger tournaments, and then I qualified to be pro.
But now you're like the #1 women's player.
Yeah,
it's like
I never in a million years would have thought this is what my life would be like.
What better way to level up my game than to learn from the best female player in the world?
Too much to the left, you can get caught up, and they both fall.
Everyone always asks, do you look at the hole when you throw? Some people do.
Okay.
I don't. I kind of look, and this is where I aim. I don't aim
because you want to slide it right. Okay, got it. Mm-hmm.
So I try to put my bag right there.
God, but it's so much further than I feel like you really recognize. It is kind of far.
Try to grab onto it though. You don't have to grab it real hard, but just grip it enough that you have control. Woo! Whether you step or you don't, just swing your arm like this. You know, when you bowl. Oh, you hit the board that time. That was good.
If I'm gonna go pro, I'll need a little more time. We'll be right back.
Jacob Foreman. One of the most important factors in the ACL's success in that first broadcast also happens to be one of Stacey's most important hires, color commentator Trey Ryder.
I got so lucky with Trey. He's made a huge difference. We definitely would not be where we are without him and what he's done for the sport.
Oh, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about this bag. Oh, the pressure's on, man. He's going for it, and he got it!
Graduating summa cum laude from Clemson University in chemical engineering, Trey had no prior commentating experience, but fell into the job because of his father.
He was just a natural. You can't teach what he does.
To stay alive and force overtime, Noah Wooten. On the way and hits it!
my main job that I felt like I had to do was just relay what is that player thinking as a competitive player. And that can seem like, oh man, how are you reading people's minds?
Yeah.
So what he's gonna try to do is hit this back lip and then cause this bag to go off while the airmail goes in. One of the most difficult shots in Cornhole.
Dennis.
The Ringer dubbed him the Tony Romo of Cornhole for his ability to predict what the players are about to do.
When I say things like that, now I've made you at home an expert in Cornhole. I've gotten you invested into the game, and that's why we keep people, we have a sticky broadcast.
Aggressive to Zane wannabe. Goes way up top and hits it on the backside. That is a pro airmail. Backside, back lip. Put a pin in that one. Does that change this momentum?
Jason and I have heard countless times that one of the most appealing parts of professional cornhole is that everyone thinks they can do it. So let's see if that holds up by playing against the best cornhole players in the world.
All right, Vanessa, you've been practicing a lot.
I haven't been practicing.
You and me, we're partnered up with some actual pros. You're not going to tell me any of your secrets, are you?
No, absolutely 0%.
First of all, make me look good.
Oh yeah.
You got this.
You got this.
Get there. Oh! All right, 0 for 0.
Nice work.
Yeah, that's.
Oh no, that's not even close.
There's one.
So
she got one in.
She got one in, so that's.
There's 2.
So 3. So that's net 5 for us?
5, correct. Yep, 5-0.
I mean, I can't actually score.
Yeah.
But I can keep score.
Keep score.
Yeah.
Get my 5 back.
Wow. Nice job. Very good.
While anyone can play, the difference between amateurs and pros is easy to see.
Oh boy. I feel like this is getting real now. Oh my God.
I thought it stopped.
And if anyone was wondering, that's why they're the pros.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, I really thought I had that.
All right.
You got it.
Oh, wow, that was so clutch.
Ice.
That was so clutch. Oh, that's ridiculous. That was amazing.
Good game.
Great game.
So with momentum from their ESPN broadcast, the next step is crucial for the success of the sport. The roadmap to the growth of the sports depends on one thing: money.
Tell me about meeting Jim Simmons.
You know, we had the opportunity to potentially go with a venture fund or a different kind of group, and I think having the Jim and John as professional individual investors was the right fit for me personally, the right fit for I think the culture of our sport as well.
John is John Thompson III, former Georgetown basketball coach and assistant coach for the men's U.S. national team. Jim is Jim Simmons, John's co-investor, the person I'm currently speaking to, and a self-described pretty good cornhole player.
I ended up driving down to South Carolina, and we met, sort of based upon a phone conversation. Spent the better part of a day together.
Once I met him in person, I felt super comfortable. I just felt like that was the ideal partner for us.
When I walked out of the meeting, I saw the economic potential, and with a little bit of help, Cornhole could be the next NFL.
The economic potential for the ACL lies in its diversification of revenue streams. Sponsorship, media rights, and technology used to run their tournaments all play a huge role in the ACL's success. But one of the biggest moneymakers is licensing.
You know, one of the things that clearly is attractive to investors, you had built as a feature, which was you owned the equipment, you owned the hardware in many ways. You had already negotiated the media rights.
Our licensing model, I think, is extremely unique in the sports world in that we developed an equipment licensing program for different levels of equipment, rec, comp, and pro, and so we license at the equipment level, then we also license our marks as well.
Not only are you getting an operating business in terms of the league itself, but you're also getting a manufacturing and distribution operating business, which was highly interesting to me as an investor, financer.
Ultimately, if the ACL wants to hit its goals for growth, it will have to expand overseas. But that comes with real hurdles. Talk to me about international expansion and what that looks like and how you pull that off.
The main reason to expand internationally is to make more money, first and foremost.
Do you embrace the sort of Americana aspect of it, or do you look for other ways to bring in new audiences?
One of my biggest concerns going overseas, especially to Europe, is the lack of big tailgating cultures. So what we found at that first ACL Europe Open, where we had 10 different countries represented, was people really gravitated towards the sport and the social aspect of it. Even though they don't have a background tailgating or never saw cornhole, they've seen it in social media, they've seen our broadcast, and they wanted to play and learn the game. We had our first ACL Europe Open in Rotterdam last season in 2022. And this year we already have 6 events scheduled over in Europe, plus ACL Europe Open #2, which will be in Paris in September. So Europe is growing rapidly from 1 event to 7 year over year.
So ACL Super Bowl 4 ran on ESPN the Friday before Super Bowl 57, featuring both professionals like Cheyenne Bubenheim and NFL athletes Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tyler Lockett.
Wow, just talking about Tyler Lockett.
Back one.
Yeah, never playing before, and knocks in the first one.
As a professional athlete, you see the pros. What do you make of cornhole as a pro game?
You can tell that they put a lot of work into this, and it's impressive to sit back and watch. The energy in here was something that surprised me. These people are really excited to watch. It's a fun game, and like I said, it's quick. I want to play again.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun to see guys and girls throwing the bags and know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Going from seeing in tailgates and seeing in the locker room, did you ever think it would be kind of like this?
Never. But every NFL city I've gone in, cornhole is a big deal, right? The tailgates and everything else. So when we're driving the bus through to each stadium, you see those bags flying in the air. So this is something that all those NFL fans really relate to. But none of them had it at 27 feet.
No,
they all cheat and they put it tighter. They don't know how far these are.
You don't.
It's always nice to get vindication from an NFL quarterback, but the results of the Super Bowl event aren't what's important for the future of cornhole. It's what's happening behind the match.
So it all sort of culminates in this. This is the future of cornhole because this is going to give way to more of these celebrity events. You're bringing lots of people into it. It's a more competitive landscape, though, for cornhole.
And to see where their broadcasts have gone to now where they are with the huge LED panels, ESPN broadcast, the cranes, everything is really leagues above where they were at the start of the pandemic.
It's an interesting strategy, too, because what they know is that the people behind us are potential sponsors, potential investors, or at least sort of influential people who are going to say, you know where I went at the Super Bowl? I went to see a cornhole match.
See a cornhole match.